You see, super apps are here to stay, and the big internet giants in the States already get it. This trend is coming from east to west. With so much technology and innovation in our everyday lives, sometimes it's easy to wonder, are we at the end of innovation for consumer tech? I believe we're still at the beginning of a lot of change to come. And today I'm going to talk about 4 trends that I'm keeping an eye on and that I'm really excited about. The first one is that everything will become a super app. Companies will start working together to better understand their customers and discover new revenue streams by offering them more unique products and services. Second, everything becomes commerce. All the time that we're spending in our entertainment apps, whether they're video apps, social media apps, messaging apps, we will be shopping from these apps in the near future. Third, the idea that technology will mold more into our physical world. The way that we interact with the internet will no longer just be on these small little screens, but we'll be connecting our digital identities with our physical ones. And lastly, the massive explosion of audio consumption. We are wall-to-wall covered with podcasts now. And what does that mean for all of us, and how do we take advantage of that opportunity? So let me start out with the first idea of everything becoming a super app. According to eMarketer, in 2019, this is the year that we will be spending more times on our cell phones than watching television. 3 hours and 43 minutes. But you see, the problem is, the average person is spending over 3 hours of that time in apps, and only the small remainder is being spent in the mobile browser. So the long tail of the internet is not migrating over to the phone. You couple that with this other problem, which is that people are not downloading as many apps. In fact, the average person will download 0 apps every month. What does that mean for all of us? And how do we fix the problem? Well, I believe the answer is super apps. So super apps is what will rescue us. This is a picture of Mietuan. This is a food delivery service in China, a very popular food delivery service that you use to order your lunch and your dinner. In 2013, they started thinking about what other revenue streams they could create. They added a button on top where you could start booking hotel nights. And today, they're responsible for booking over 50% of the hotel nights in China. And the previous big player, Ctrip, is down to low 20%. That's not it. Mietuan also will go into sharing bikes, or you can use it to find all kinds of attractions, nightlife, movie tickets, and much more. They are taking a high-frequency, low-margin business of food delivery and tacking on low-frequency, high-margin businesses at low or 0 customer acquisition cost. They are leveraging their distribution. They are leveraging their understanding of customers and thinking, what other revenue streams can I create with that Mindshare? Mietuan is just one of many examples. In China, you also have WeChat. You also have Alipay. In Southeast Asia, we have Gojek that is not used just for transportation, but also used to even book beauty appointments, find movie services. You can even use it to top up your mobile payment plan. And in the US, we have Uber, transforming itself from a transportation company to being the operating system for our everyday lives. You see, super apps are here to stay, and the big internet giants in the States already get it. This trend is coming from east to west. So what does that mean for all of us here? Some of us are lucky enough to be working at companies that are part of those sweet spot of apps that people use on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. But many of us live in that long tail of the internet. So what do we do? What is your super app strategy? If you are lucky enough to be one of those high-frequency used apps, what are new revenue streams that you can be introducing to your customer? And if you're not, what are other big existing apps that you can start partnering with? What do you uniquely know about your customer that can add extra value to one of those big players? Let me give an example of how you can discover your hidden data asset. Spotify, a music streaming service, knows a lot about my musical interests. They know which artists I like. With their addition of podcasts, they now know much more about me. If I listen to the Bigger Pockets podcast, they know I'm most likely a landlord and I love real estate. But what else can this data be used for? You see, actually, Spotify could use that data and help artists and concert promoters figure out which cities they should be touring in. They should use data to inform themselves. Should I spend one more night in New York, or should I use that day instead at the Staples Center? In fact, they should be able to work with artists and tell them how to personalize their playlist for every single city and change your playlists to show what your listeners love most in that particular city. Those are new revenue streams that Spotify can unlock by discovering their hidden data assets. And who thought a music streaming app could have such a huge impact on concerts and live promotions? Similarly, who thought a short video app could also empower all kinds of commerce? The second big trend is that everything is going to become commerce and transaction related. We spend a lot of time in these apps, video apps, communication apps, social media apps. In addition to having our Mindshare and knowing a decent amount about us, they are actually perfect distribution vehicles for commercials that we actually want to watch. Let me show you what that means. These are video and live streaming apps and short video apps in China. And here's a quick example on the left. You'll see a farmer take you to his orange orchard. He will slice that orange in front of your eyes, and I think this is the best commercial for fruit that I've ever seen. Imagine yourself lying in bed at midnight, scrolling through a feed of videos, seeing something like this. Your mouth starts watering, and you would love to buy a box of those oranges. Well, the platform lets you do that. You see that little thing, that little white box? The user just has to tap on it, and a couple of taps later, they get a box of those delicious oranges shipped right to their door. This is already happening in other countries. And if you're wondering, how are all these short video apps going to monetize in the States? This is a very real possibility. Here's another example. This fisherman is showing you how he's catching the lobster that you can order. And when you click through it, you can even get recipes on how to cook this delicious seafood. We hear about this phrase, farm to table, and in the States, we just have this vague concept. But this is what farm to table really looks like. This is what authenticity and context really looks like. And it's already happening. The third big trend I wanted to talk about is how technology is going to show up more and more in our physical world. Right now in China, you already see airports testing these kiosks, where with facial recognition, they tell you exactly what gate to go to and how to get there. You also have examples of classrooms that are leveraging facial technology to take attendance. You can no longer get away with asking your classmates to sign in for you. Now, some of this could be a little spooky, and we wonder, is facial recognition ever going to be a big thing in the States? It's already happening. You see, Delta Airlines is actually testing facial recognition in some international airports for check-in and boarding, and 72% of people who use it prefer it to previous standard methods. We have private schools in New York leveraging facial recognition to look for guns and also people that shouldn't be on campus. So whether we like it or not, facial recognition is already being experimented with, and it unlocks new opportunities. This is another example of technology showing up in our physical world. This is a demo of a UK company that signed a 2-year exclusive with Tencent. And they're overlaying all kinds of advertisements in pre-recorded video. Can you imagine watching your favorite movie from the 70s or 80s, showcasing brands that you shop from today? This technology is already live and being used commercially. And lastly, one of my favorite trends. Earshare is the new Mindshare. We are listening to more podcasts than ever before. Audio consumption is exploding, and so much of that is driven by the smartphone. But it's more than just the smartphone. It's also hardware, better creation tools, and found time. People now have wireless earbuds that help you listen to podcasts on the go. You have your connected cars, you have smart speakers at home. Better creation tools means that anyone can create their own podcast series from their bedrooms. And the glorious, magical moment of realizing that you have found time. You see, I can listen to a podcast when I'm cooking breakfast, when I'm nursing my kid, when I'm driving. All those moments that used to be somewhat mindless, I can now use to embrace and consume audio content. In fact, audio, if you think about it, is a marketer's dream. You are literally in their heads. You are literally in their ears. They are a captive audience to you. And studies and numbers have already shown it to be a very effective, low-cost customer acquisition strategy. So what does this consumption of audio and podcasts mean for us? I think it means we now need to start thinking, what does audio-first content look like? You see, a decade ago, we started thinking, what does mobile-first product look like? We started leveraging the camera, we started leveraging the GPS, and that brought us great companies like Instagram or Lyft. What does audio-first thinking look like? Because audio allows you to introduce all kinds of magical moments, whether they're sound effects, different narrated voices. This is a seed company that we invested in this year called Knowable. They offer luxury, premium, curated audio courses on a variety of topics that people would pay money for. For example, how to launch a startup, how to start a podcast, how to speak confidently, how to sleep better, how to buy your first home. And thinking audio first, of course, they have sound effects. Of course, they're narrated by different voices. But they go a step further. They combined audio-first thinking with SuperApp thinking, and they start thinking customer-centric as opposed to just product-centric. So what does that look like? If you bought this class, How to Launch a Startup, you're probably pretty serious about starting a business. So they're already working with AWS so that anyone who buys this course is going to get $1,000 of free credits for AWS. Think about all the other kinds of partner membership benefits that can be offered for something like how to sleep better, or a very lucrative topic, how to buy your first home. What are all the benefits that can be packaged into that course? That's audio-first thinking combined with SuperApp thinking, and it is powerful. You combine these trends together, and this is why I'm still so excited about the future of consumer tech. We're going to see more and more super apps. Companies realize that their distribution is powerful, and they can leverage that for new revenue streams with more business partners. More commerce is going to start showing up in your video apps, in your social media apps, in your messaging apps. We're going to be shopping seamlessly, and commercials are going to start getting better. We're going to start thinking about an audio-first world. We're going to see more tech and software permeate our physical worlds. And we're all going to start figuring out that super apps means we need to work together. Let me give you one last analogy to kind of crystallize what this thinking means. Imagine that you are getting married. You don't have a wedding planner, and so you go to a wedding venue, and you're ready to book it. That wedding venue probably has a recommendation for a florist, a photographer. They probably even have recommendations for a caterer or a wedding planner. That's because the offline world always understood how to think in a customer-centric way as opposed to a product-centric way. That's why you buy magazines at the grocery store. They know how to maximize revenue with every square foot. We need to take that same thinking of who is our customer, what other random services or products might they need that might not even be related to my core service, and how can I help offer them that with my distribution power? We need to start uncovering what our hidden data assets are and brainstorming what new revenue streams can come from that. And we're going to start working together to unlock this great opportunity before us. Thank you.